the night they said goodbye to high school and hello to the rest of their futures. But for Danielle Parker, that night in 1995 would be her last. She never made it home from the senior prom. 18 years later, a single photograph taken at a class reunion would expose a truth darker than anyone could have imagined, a truth that had been hiding in plain sight all along. Danielle Parker was everything people said a good girl should be.
Smart, kind.
The kind of person who saw the best in everyone, even when they didn't deserve it. She was one of the few black students in a mostly white high school in rural Illinois. Every day, she faced whispers, stares, and the quiet, casual cruelty that small towns are famous for pretending doesn't exist. Still, she smiled through it. She had dreams bigger than that town. She wanted to study journalism, tell stories that mattered. That night, she wore a soft blue dress her mother had spent weeks sewing. She'd saved every penny from her after-school job to buy matching shoes. When she left for prom, her mother hugged her tight. "Be careful, baby," she said. Danielle smiled. "I'll be home before midnight, Mama." But midnight came and went. Danielle never came home. For weeks, search parties scoured every inch of the nearby woods, every back road, every lake. Flyers covered telephone poles and diner windows. Her best friend, Melanie, swore she saw Danielle leave with someone, a teacher, Mr. Carter, the beloved history teacher everyone adored. The police called it hearsay. After all, Mr. Carter was a respected man in the community, active in the church, known for mentoring students. He said Danielle left the prom early, alone. There wasn't enough evidence to question him. The case went cold. Danielle's mother never stopped looking. Every birthday, she lit a candle in the window, hoping her daughter would find her way home. But the years passed, and hope slowly turned into silence. In 2013, the graduating class of 95 gathered for their 20th reunion. The old gym was decorated with streamers, a bad DJ played 90s hits, and everyone smiled for group photos. Melanie hadn't planned to go. She'd moved away, built a new life, but something pulled her back. Maybe guilt, maybe curiosity. When the reunion photos were later posted online, she almost scrolled past them. But then she froze. In the back of one group shot, standing near the punch table, was a familiar face. Older, heavier, grayer, but unmistakable. It was Mr. Carter. And next to him was a woman with hauntingly familiar eyes. Melanie's heart stopped. That woman, her face, her smile, it was Danielle. At first, Melanie thought it was impossible. Danielle couldn't be alive, could she? She downloaded the photo, zoomed in, enhanced it, and stared for hours. The resemblance was uncanny, but what truly froze her was the look in Danielle's eyes.
Fear.
Controlled fear, like someone pretending to be okay while silently screaming for help. Melanie contacted the police again. They dismissed her, said it must have been a look-alike, maybe a distant cousin. But she couldn't let it go. She started digging. She found that Mr. Carter had moved out of town in 1996, just months after Danielle disappeared. He'd started teaching under a new name 2 states away, and the woman living with him, her name was Anna Carter. No record before 1997. No social security number before that year. Melanie knew then. Danielle never left that night. She'd been taken. With the help of a private investigator, Melanie tracked Mr. Carter to a quiet suburb outside St. Louis. They watched him for weeks, and then one night, they saw her. The woman called Anna stepped outside with a small bag of trash. Under the dim porch light, Melanie finally saw her clearly. Her hair was shorter, her face older, but her eyes, those were Danielle's eyes. Melanie called out softly, "Danielle?" The woman froze. Her hands trembled. Then, without a word, she dropped the bag and ran back inside. Moments later, the lights in the house went dark. When the police finally arrived, the house was empty. Mr. Carter's car was gone. So was Danielle. Again, 2 days later, Mr. Carter was found at a gas station miles away, dead. The coroner said it was suicide, but Danielle or Anna was still missing. In his abandoned home, detectives found journals, letters, and photos, Proof that he'd kept her hidden for nearly 2 decades, manipulating her into believing her family was dead, convincing her that he'd saved her from a world that didn't care. Every diary entry was a confession of control, a portrait of obsession. But one thing stood out, a single note, written in Danielle's handwriting, left behind on the table. It read, "I'm free now, but this isn't over." 3 months later, Melanie received a package in the mail. No return address. Inside was an old photograph, the same reunion photo from that night. Except this one had been altered. Across the faces of everyone in the picture, someone had drawn red X's, except for one. Melanie's. And written on the back were 3 chilling words. "You forgot something." Melanie's hands shook as she looked closer. There, taped to the bottom corner of the photo, was a folded map. It was a hand-drawn layout of a forest trail, and at the very end of it, a single word, home. Her heart raced. Was Danielle alive? Or was someone else now playing her twisted game? Either way, she knew she had to follow it. 18 years of silence had finally been broken. But the truth, the whole truth, was just beginning to surface. "I'm free now, but this isn't over." And now, it seemed she meant it. Melanie couldn't sleep after receiving that mysterious package. A photo from the reunion, red X's drawn across every face except hers, and a map that ended with a single, haunting word, home. Was Danielle trying to tell her something? Or was someone else playing a sick game? She took the map to the police, but they brushed her off again. "It's probably a prank," they said. But deep down, Melanie knew Danielle was trying to communicate. She remembered something, a place they used to call the Hollow. A small clearing behind the old railroad tracks where they'd play as kids. It was where they'd buried a time capsule together before graduation, one that Danielle had promised to dig up someday. Melanie's hands shook as she compared the map. It was the same place. The next morning, Melanie packed a flashlight, gloves, and a camera. She didn't tell anyone where she was going. By the time she reached the Hollow, the sun had started to set, the sky painted in bruised purples and fading gold. The area was overgrown, wild with weeds and vines, but she recognized the crooked oak tree where they'd once carved their initials. She followed the map's markings, 10 steps north, 15 steps east, until her foot hit something solid beneath the dirt. Heart pounding, she dropped to her knees and began digging. Moments later, her fingers brushed against something cold, metal. It was an old lunchbox, rusted shut. She pried it open. Inside were photos of letters and a cassette tape wrapped in plastic. The first photo made her blood run cold. It was Danielle, at prom, the night she vanished. But standing beside her was Mr. Carter. His hand wasn't on her shoulder, it was gripping her arm. Her smile looked forced, her eyes distant. Then Melanie unfolded a note, written in Danielle's handwriting. It said, "If you're reading this, I didn't leave. He took me. And if I'm gone again, don't trust the ones who said they cared." At the bottom of the note was a single name, Detective Alan Briggs. Melanie's hands trembled as she pulled out the cassette tape. She didn't own a player, so she went to a thrift store in town and bought one for $5. That night, she sat alone in her kitchen, pressed play, and listened. Static crackled first. Then, Danielle's voice.
Shaky. Quiet.
"It's been 2 years since he took me. He said nobody was looking. He said they all believed him. But I heard the truth. I heard them." The detective came to the house. He knew. He told Mr. Carter to leave town, said if anyone found out, it'd ruin everything. The tape clicked. Then silence. Then another voice, male, deep calm. "You keep quiet, Danielle. For your own good. People disappear all the time. Don't make me prove that." Melanie's heart stopped. It was him.
Detective Briggs.
The same man who had led the original investigation. The same man who told Danielle's mother to move on. And now, 18 years later, he was still the chief of police. Melanie knew she couldn't go straight to the police, not if Briggs was still in charge. So she contacted a journalist named Andre Lewis, a young reporter known for exposing small-town corruption. Andre agreed to meet her at a diner just outside town. He listened carefully as she showed him the photo, the note, and the tape. "Melanie," he said quietly, "if this is real, we're dealing with something much bigger than a missing person case. Someone covered this up." Before they could finish their conversation, a police cruiser pulled into the parking lot. Melanie froze as she saw the man step out.
Detective Briggs.
He smiled that same calm, calculating smile. "Well," he said, tapping the roof of the car, "I was just in the neighborhood. You two having coffee?" Melanie's mouth went dry. Andre subtly slid the cassette tape under the table, into her purse. Briggs leaned forward and whispered, "Some things are better left buried, Miss Turner. For your own safety, I'd stop digging." And with that, he left. That night, Melanie couldn't sleep. She replayed the tape over and over, Danielle's trembling voice echoing in her mind. She opened her laptop and began researching old police records, and that's when she found something chilling. 3 other missing girls from nearby towns, between 1993 and 1997, all young, all black, all investigated by Detective Briggs. All cases that had gone cold. The same man who laughed at Danielle's mother for not accepting reality had been at the center of it all. And then her phone buzzed. An unknown number. She hesitated before answering. "Melanie." It was a woman's voice. Faint, whispering. "Don't trust anyone. He's not working alone." Melanie's heart raced. Who was this?
Danielle?
But the line went dead. The next morning, Andre called. He'd done his own digging and discovered that Detective Briggs' brother-in-law owned a remote cabin in the woods near the state border. The same area where Mr. Carter's journals said he kept her safe. They decided to go there, to find whatever truth was left buried. But when they arrived, the cabin looked abandoned.
Dust.
Silence. Until Melanie noticed something, a faint sound beneath the floorboards. Andre pried up one of the planks and found a locked metal box. He forced it open. Inside were dozens of Polaroids of young women, terrified.
Bound.
And among them, one final photo. It was Danielle, older, alive, standing beside Detective Briggs. As Melanie stared at the photo, her phone buzzed again. A message. No name, no number. It said, "You're too late. He's already found her." Before she could respond, headlights appeared outside the cabin. 2 black SUVs rolling down the dirt road. Andre grabbed the camera, stuffed the photos into his bag. "Run," he whispered. But it was too late. The door creaked open, and standing in the doorway was Danielle. Her hair was short, her eyes cold, and in her hand, a badge. "You shouldn't have come here, Melanie," she said quietly. "You don't understand. I am the law now." The screen fades to black. To be continued. Please subscribe for part 2.